Welcome to Carlton's Math Corner. Today we're going to continue our study on slope. At this time, please make sure you have your math journal, your vocab packet, as well as something to write with. Our target today is I can find slope from a graph. Okay, so first of all, what do you notice? Okay, so here's what I notice. I notice that in the last video, we learned that slope is how much a line is changing, how much it is rising over how much it is running. And what I notice here in red, I notice that there is a fraction. And my wonder is this rise over run? That's what my question is. And over here, I'm thinking that yes, it is, because it says rise, and then it gives me some numbers, 4 minus 1. And I notice that 4 minus 1 comes from the y-axis. And that's where that 3 came from. 4 minus 1 is 3, so 3 is on top. That's my rise. And the run is subtracting the x-coordinates. 3 minus 5 is -2. So that's where that negative came from. So my wonder was actually correct. It is my rise over my run. And it's kind of cool that we kind of learned where that rise and run came from. Why do you think rise goes along with the y coordinates? Yes, exactly. The y coordinates have to do with the y-axis. And the y-axis is the vertical axis. And when I rise, then I'm moving up or down. So that makes sense of why it's the y coordinate. And the x coordinate has to do with the x-axis. And so that makes sense. That's where my run is. I'm running left to right. Now this triangle, I know this might be a symbol that you have never seen before, but this triangle actually means change. So this is the change in y and the change in x. So change in y coordinates, change in x coordinates. And so that's why there's a subtraction here. We're trying to see how much is there a difference. If I go from 4 on the y all the way down to 1 on the y, there is a difference of 3. I can even count the spaces and there's a difference of 3. Or if I subtract them, I get 3. Same thing with the x's. If I, start at the 5 and I have a 3, well, if I look at the difference between them, 3 minus 5 is -2, but do you notice there's still 2 spaces here? Okay, so that's where that rise over run came from. So, slope. In the last video, we learned that it's rise over run. Okay, but another way to look at that is we're looking at the change in y's over the change in x's. And this is how we show that. So here's rise over run. Remember the triangles mean change. So we have change in y's over change in x's. And instead of change, basically we're trying to find the difference. So we're looking at the ordered pairs and we're looking at the y's first. And honestly, it doesn't matter which ordered pair you start with, as long as you start with that one again when you try to find the change between the x's. So like if I start with this ordered pair and I do 3 minus a -1, then I have to start with this ordered pair again, and I have to do 4 minus a -2. So let's figure this out. If I do 3 minus a -1, that equals 4. And let's make this a little bit smaller just so that equals 4. And then if I do the x's, I have to do 4 minus a negative 2. And 4, that's in green, 4 minus negative 2. And I get an answer of 6. So my rise would be positive 4. And if you look over here, I'm rising from negative 1 up to positive 3. That is 4 spaces. And I'm moving up. And so that's positive 4. And then I'm going to the right. And it looks like I have 6. That would be correct because from negative 2 to positive 4, that would be 6 spaces. This is my rise over the run. However, I'm going to say that we never ever leave it in a fraction that can be simplified. This fraction definitely can be simplified, and it could be simplified down to 2/3. So my slope is positive 2/3. Okay, let's do another one. Now, if I'm looking at this, so I can find my slope, I can, first of all, I could draw a line. I could see even what my rise and run is just from making this little staircase. I can see that I am running to the right. I'm running how many spaces? 1, 2, 3. So my bottom number of my fraction is going to be 3. And then I'm rising how much? I'm going up. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm rising 4. So both of them are positive because we went to the right and we went up. Even if I decided to start at this point and go down 4 and left 4, this is what I would get. I would get negative 4, negative 4, and I would get negative 3. Well, when you have a negative divided by a negative, isn't that still positive? Yes. So simplified, no matter what, the answer would still be 4/3. Now let's test this out. Let's look at the ordered pairs. Did that work? If I look at the y's, 2 minus a negative 2, do we get positive 4? Yes. And 2, look at the x's, 2 minus a negative 1. Is 2 minus a negative 1 a positive 3? Yes, it is. So it worked. Our slope is 4/3. How about this one? This one, we don't have anything that's like the ordered pairs aren't given to us. However, we still could figure this out. If I take a pen and I draw how much we rose and then how much we ran. First of all, if I look at this type of line. It's going from the left to the right, it's going down. So no matter what, I know, and I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be negative. So I'm going to put a negative no matter what, because I know that this line, this is an example of a slope that's negative. So how much are we going down? So we start here, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We went down 6. That's negative 6. And then how much to the right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we went to the right 9. That is a positive 9. And so this is definitely not in simplest form. What could we divide these by? 3, correct. And so let's divide it by 3 and we get, negative 2. And we get 3, so negative 2/3. And there's our slope. We could test this out and just see this. This is the ordered pair is -4, -4, and +4. And down here, if we look at this, it looks like the ordered pair would be over 5 and down to -2. Okay, so -4, or let's start with this one. So 5 minus -4. Do we get 9? Yes, we do. And remember, x's are the bottom one because that's our run. Then -2 minus 4 is -6. Nice job. So remember, always start off. So the top is what we start off with first. -2 minus 4. And I'm going to underline that because that's our top. And then our bottom was 5 minus -4. And that's where our -6 ninths came from. And remember, simplify, simplify, simplify. Our answer is not correct unless it's in simplest form. At this time, what I want you to do is pick 2 points. And I would highly recommend pick some points that are like perfectly on the lines. Okay, there's quite a few points that are perfectly on these grids. Okay, and then find the slope. Thank you so much for joining me at Carlton's Math Corner, and I look forward to meeting with you again.